Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where every single country is actively at war. The United States, China, Russia, India, powers abruptly abandoning their alliances and turning their weapons on their immediate neighbors. Within minutes, the systems you rely on freeze. Airports shut down indefinitely. This interconnected, survival is no longer guaranteed for anyone. During that first hour, emergency alerts flood digital devices across the globe. Physical borders are sealed as governments activate their most restrictive defense protocols. Simultaneously, naval fleets deploy, missiles launch, and military aircraft take to the skies. Every geographic domain, from the oceans to the airspace and even low Earth orbit, is instantly transformed into a front in a single global conflict. For ordinary citizens, the first casualty of this global war arrives silently. The entire international internet and communication network simply disappears. Digital banking applications freeze. Gas station pumps lock up. Within hours, regional power grids experience uncontained rolling blackouts as the systems that balance them fail. Modern civilization relies entirely on an invisible cooperative web. Electricity, satellites, and financial ledgers only agree to maintain them together. In this environment, a targeted computer attack on one side of the world cripples civilian infrastructure thousands of kilometers away. Absolute disruption is as effective as any kinetic strike. That disruption immediately paralyzes international trade. Financial markets freeze entirely as investors realize there's no safe way to move goods across the ocean. This diagram shows the missing component phenomenon. An assembly line for computers or life-saving medical equipment requires thousands of distinct parts. A single missing import permanently halts production. This industrial failure moves quickly from electronics to the food supply. Modern megacities hold very little surplus. They depend on constant, daily deliveries to prevent mass hunger. Supply chains have become the primary theater of the war, where a single broken link can neutralize an entire military force. More than 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans, the vital arteries that move the world's fuel and medicine. As military forces patrol major routes and block access to ports, commercial cargo vessels either drop anchor in open water or turn around to flee. Island nations run out of fuel, manufacturing hubs exhaust their raw materials, and populations are forced into a sudden, desperate reliance on whatever they can produce locally. In the background, a far greater existential threat escalates. As armed forces maintain high alert, the risk of technical error increases as diplomatic communication vanishes. A misread radar signature in an environment devoid of trust leaves commanders with mere minutes to decide whether to launch a retaliatory nuclear strike. A nuclear exchange nullifies any concept of victory. Radioactive contamination and climate disruption will universally destroy the populations of all combatants, regardless of their borders. As the global systems fail, an eerie silence descends upon the world's most vibrant megacities. Businesses lock their doors, public transport ceases operation, and at night, entire neighborhoods go dark to conserve what little power remains. Without daily maintenance, nature begins reclaiming abandoned urban infrastructure, highlighting how much of our environment requires constant, collective human effort. Yet behind the locked doors, a different instinct takes over. Doctors secretly share information, engineers patch failing grids, and neighbors share shrinking rations. These acts of local cooperation suggest that while governments can declare war, they cannot entirely sever the practical dependencies that humans have spent centuries building. Weeks into the conflict, a new reality emerges. Every nation is running out of ammunition, fuel, and personnel. The physical war machine becomes exhausted. Aircraft sit grounded without specialized maintenance, and naval fleets are stranded at sea without fuel or replacement parts. This chart illustrates a catastrophic loop. Continued warfare destroys vital infrastructure, which depletes resources, which in turn weakens the society attempting to fight. As this loop accelerates, the systemic collapse makes the further projection of military power physically impossible. The military-industrial complex ultimately starves itself. Without a functioning global economy, prolonged total war cannot be sustained. Eventually, localized ceasefires emerge across the globe. These pauses happen because the physical capacity to continue fighting has been exhausted. Physical infrastructure undergoes a slow restart. Power stations receive rudimentary repairs, and essential food shipments begin moving across borders again. Ordinary people see the first signs of recovery as the shadow of a commercial airplane passes overhead for the first time in years. The world that remains is permanently altered. Millions are displaced. National economies face decades of recovery, and the trust that once moved goods around the world is gone. The silence